SeerNova Podcast, Season 2, Episode 25. And it's the 25th of August. That's crazy.
In 25.
We have Aaron.
Who just turned 25.
Aaron Wroblewski and Jason Lenox. So what's up, peoples?
Hey.
Yeah. So for people that don't know who you are, we're going to start with Aaron and then go to Jason. So Aaron, who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I am Aaron Wroblewski. I am the writer-creator of several indie comics. Current live is my samurai action horror, Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone, so it completes the series. A lot of action, beheadings, and general awesomeness. My other series is Enenra, which is apocalyptic horror, and Amor Patris, which is a supernatural horror.
Cool.
Sweet.
So I'm Jason Lenox. I'm a comic book creator, artist, writer, etc. And my latest upcoming project is going to be the Encore Indiegogo campaign for Lords of the Cosmos issue 5, which is my ongoing 1980s toy and cartoon inspired black and white anthology comic. So that's what's coming up later this year.
Cool. And I like long walks on the beach.
Who doesn't?
So, Aaron, what got you into like horror?
I've always loved horror. I mean, I still remember when I kind of snuck watching Alien when I was a kid, because luckily when in my parents' house, the staircase was like right opposite the door into the front room. So when it was my bedtime, I would leave the door slightly cracked so I could sit on the stairs and watch the TV. So when it was like 9 o'clock bedtime, so they could watch, adult movies, I would just sit on the stairs and watch movies. So yeah, I've always loved horror. I usually go to the cinema on my own because my wife hates it. I watched Weapons recently. That was pretty good. And it kind of just rolled into writing comics. This is kind of how I got into it. Very kind of, I've not collected comics before. So I was more of an anime, cartoon kind of guy. And then I wrote Enenra as a TV script. Didn't get much traction because I'm Mr. Nobody. Who cares? But one of the agents actually said it would make a kick-ass graphic novel, and luckily the guy on their books was Ezekiel, and he does the artwork for Enenra and Ice and Bone, Blood and Fire. It's my longest working relationship. It's been going on for like 10 years.
Cool.
Did you see the what was it? There's Alien, Earth, and Predator.
Yes, it's so cool.
What's the other one? It's Predator Badlands, I think, was the other one.
That's coming out.
I don't know if this is their plan, but because they announced them at the same time, I'm hoping that they're making a Flash Arrowverse with Predator and Alien, where like they're totally different, but then suddenly there's this overlap.
Yeah,
they
are planning it. They've said they are planning it, but they want to do it more organically. So they've got the Alien. Yeah. It's Badlands looks kick ass. That comes out in November. But I'm watching the Aliens Earth. It's really cool. On Hulu. Recommend it.
Nice. Jason, you were on the podcast before and you love 80s everything.
Yeah. So what can I tell you about the 80s and toys and cartoons? Is there anything I can answer for you as a representative of the 80s?
Everything. Because I am from the 90s.
I thought the 90s were more slickly produced, but not as interesting. And I think that's when a lot of it just was never as good as the 80s, man. Like late 70s to the 80s was like really where a lot of these things are all these things, like they have their pop culture foundations. I mean, you guys are talking about Aliens and Predator. Aliens came out in 79 and Predator came out in 87. and Aliens came out in '86. So all that stuff's all from that very fertile creative ground of groundbreaking original stuff. And I think we're all still chasing our tail, trying to recapture that.
Yeah.
Stuff.
What about Street Sharks?
Good. Street Sharks? What wasn't that in the '90s or was that '80s?
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the '90s.
That's actually
I'm familiar with it. It's foreign to me.
I think it's a graphic novel or something, but it's on like Kickstarter right now.
I just saw recently someone shared it with me. So you had Thundercats, which everyone knew, and then there was the next generation, which was Silverhawks, which I was a bigger fan of, which was definitely more obscure. And I found out recently there was a third one called Tiger Sharks that was like, oh my god, it's underwater, and I was like, geez, that really must have.
Yeah, never heard those last two.
Yeah. Silverhawks had a little bit of stroke to it. Tiger Sharks was like news to me like about a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh.
You said Thundercats. First thing I thought about it the other day, I was at my mechanics and I noticed he had a big Thundercats tattoo on his arm. It's kind of one of those ones where it's like, I feel like that was, yeah, like you mentioned, there's like a mix of a bunch of stuff that came out at once, and that was just one of those things. I feel like there's probably people who were huge fans, people who never even saw it, and then people who saw it a couple times. Like there's like this gradient of existence where I feel like a lot of stuff now, it's like some people either like have seen it and loved it or have never heard of it, like whatever it is. I feel like that's like tons of stuff.
So I just checked, and I think one of the weird things about Thundercats specifically is if you remember the Hobbit cartoon that was like you might have watched.
Yes.
Real.
I have those on VHS.
That was a Rankin Bass production, and all those corny stop motion holiday things, right? With Heat Miser and all that stuff. That was Rankin Bass. They're the people that made Thundercats. So I don't know. They were good at like songs and all those old productions, and Thundercats had that catchy, Thundercats are loose, right? Rankin Bass, I don't know. They don't get as much love as they probably should, but they were the people behind Thundercats. But they were behind all those things like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like the little puppets that were like, stop motion. Yeah, that was them. That was the same people.
Are they making a movie of Thundercats? Are they making a movie? Live action?
Probably. I don't even know that, but you can say probably because they want to make all this stuff. They got He-Man coming out with Jared Leto as like Skeletor, and I'm like, why?
Isn't I think IDW's like making a whole bunch. I think was it IDW? No, Dark Horse. Sorry, Dark Horse is making a bunch of Master of the Universe stuff right now.
I'm looking forward to the Tron Ares coming out soon.
That actually looks pretty interesting.
That looks full as hell.
I never understood into like movies, but like that does seem like
the first one was really good, like from the '80s.
Yeah, I like the second one.
Second one was
the first one. The first one was crazy. The second one wasn't terrible.
That's why people like Stranger Things, because it's got like the '80s vibe,
Yeah.
So now 43 years old.
80s questions can I answer for you?
It's funny though, like what the hell was it? The Happy Gilmore 2, when that came out, I was listening to somebody be like, yep, all pop culture is dead because like we can't come up with any new ideas. Almost every new thing coming out in like the next 3 years is a remake of something old. Like even like the Marvel movies, like those are like in Marvel DC, like the superhero movies, even those are still obviously from old characters, but now like they're like literally just making second versions of movies nobody asked for. It's like it's pretty crazy.
That's the first Superman movie that I liked.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
That was pretty good. I like Man of Steel, but like this, that
I'd be like, really? What?
I like Man of Steel, but this I think this is better.
This one's
it's got more humor in it. It's not dark like
I in the dark. I just think like overall, it was one of the first superhero movies in general that had a lot of stuff going on, but not so much stuff that I had to keep track. Like I felt like I was losing track of what was going on. Like if you watch the Avengers and didn't watch any of the other movies, you're like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? What's going on? You can still enjoy it. It's a cool action movie, but it's like you might be very lost in the plot. Where with the Superman movie, they had a ton of stuff going on and it was still trackable. So I think like an average person could enjoy it as a cool action superhero movie. A Superman fan or just a comic book fan in general could enjoy it from all the little tidbits. Like I was kind of worried with Crypto the dog, like to have him. I even told Greg before it came out, I'm like, it's kind of weird. I don't know if that's going to play well because it obviously has to be CGI'd. It's a flying dog.
Yeah.
But it didn't put too much in the movie. Like
spoilers. I thought it was a real dog.
But like they didn't overuse him. They had him only in a few spots, and like there was one particular spot. Greg, I don't know if has everybody here seen it?
I saw it.
All right, cool. So, spoiler alert for anybody watching: the fact that like near the end when he grabs a hold of Lex Luthor, like Superman comes busting through, and you're like, oh my god, is Superman about to beat the crap out of Lex Luthor for a second? But then he holds back, and you're like, that's cool that he's that type of Superman. But I kind of wanted to see Lex Luthor, and then all of a sudden, boom, the dog comes through. That was the perfect way to do that because it showed Superman as this like righteous person, but Lex still got his ass kicked. It was very tasteful the way that they were able to like use him in there. Yeah, I liked it.
Well, I think Marvel kind of shot them in the themselves in the foot because of Disney Plus. You know, all the series they put on there, like with WandaVision and all the other ones, that it turned into a chore, homework you had to do to watch this program to figure out what this character does in this movie. And it's like I don't want to do homework. I just want to sit in a theater and enjoy a damn movie. And they got lazy with the writing. The films have been shit.
I was about to say I think it's also just leaning on making too many shows. By the way, I just saw Tiger Sharks that just came up in the list. I actually remember that picture. The what's it called? Like I don't care that they do shows. Like I loved The Mandalorian. I thought that was a cool show. Like building out the Star Wars, lore and universe.
2, yes. 3, no.
Yeah, well, like the idea that they were then going to make like a Solo series and a Obi-Wan series, and like they had like 6 other series planned out, and I'm like, they don't need that. It's a good way to like fill in the gaps between movies if they wanted to without it feeling overwhelming, like they're just trying to beat us to death with this series. And so like with the Marvel stuff, I think I might have watched one episode of one of those shows, and then I realized that there's so many shows. I'm like, I'm never going to catch up on this stuff. I'm just not going to watch any of them. So like the movies, there's only a set number of them. They only come out every certain amount of time. I can catch up on those eventually. But the shows, I was like, nah.
It just seemed like the writing just went in the Marvel. They just didn't care. They just expected you to have a few, fights, a few, and that's it. There was no storyline, basically, with the Marvels. It was just boring.
Oh, the Marvels? Yeah, I did hear that one was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I like Thunderbolts.
I mean, the Thunderbolts was good. I enjoyed that. The way they did Sentry, I thought he was an interesting character. I thought he was really good. I've always liked Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. He's probably one of my favorite characters apart from Hulk. I was a Hulk fan. But that, I think, struggled because of all the other shit before it. But that's just
yeah.
Don't get me started. We haven't got enough time for me to go on the Star Wars.
Yeah, no.
Go on, Jason. You look like you're falling asleep.
Well, I don't really watch Marvel movies or shows. I think Star Wars has been horrible for over a decade, so I don't really have much to say. It's all stuff I could care less about. So yeah, I definitely look bored because I think Marvel and Star Wars are boring. So if you want to get me tuned out, talk about Star Wars and Marvel, and I'll start drifting off.
Aaron, what's like the idea behind Blood and Fire and Ice and Bone?
Blood and Fire was the first series. It was supposed to be a standalone, 3 issues. It follows Nakaki as he actually came about from Ezekiel posting a samurai image on his Instagram, and I commented, "Oh, that'd make a kick-ass character in a comic," and he just went, "Well, make one." So I'm like, "Okay, fine, I will." So I started getting ideas. The old revenge storyline, but I kind of wanted to put my own little supernatural twist to it. So it did really well. It was supposed to be standalone, like I said, but I kept coming back to it, thinking of something's missing. I kind of I wanted to put in muskets into the storyline because I've always liked that, but it never fit into where the storyline was of Blood and Fire. So then I started writing Ice and Bone, doing some research, and I felt there was some backstory that needed filling as well. So there's a bit of backstory into why Blood and Fire happens, and that kind of delves into that. There was a lot more research into Ice and Bone. Blood and Fire seemed to write itself. It was really quick. I'd wrote that in like a couple of months, start to finish. It was very quick. Ice and Bone took a little longer because I did more research into aspects, especially the supernatural lore. I tried to keep it like central into Japanese mythology.
Oh. And Jason, where did you get all like the inspiration for like retro heavy metal vibe for like?
I mean, growing up movies, right? Like, so you had all the toys, you had all the books. Those were the things that really gave me a lot of enjoyment as a kid. I'm a big nerd for catching up with that stuff, getting physical copies of old shows, and kind of synthesizing the things that I like out of that stuff. So Lords of the Cosmos was really about trying to take that feeling that I had reading that stuff as a kid and trying to translate it into something original and fresh for new readers or people that like that, so they can enjoy a feeling that they know without it being trying to think of the word, like too derivative, right? So it's like I get your feeling, but it's fresh and new. So I always think about Westerns. You had all the classic John Ford Westerns, you had the spaghetti Westerns, and then Clint Eastwood was able to do Unforgiven, which has a lot of connective DNA to like The Man with No Name and some of the classic Westerns. And there's a lot of things that are similar in that film, the older films, but it's a great original film, even though it's a Western and checks a million Western boxes. So I think that there's still tons of new stories to tell with, I want to do an 80s themed thing, but do it in a way that's got enough of an original twist that it's fun for me, and hopefully it's fun for people to check it out and read it.
Yeah, like Mittens, we kind of have like the whole like nostalgia for like 90s stuff kind of, but we don't like throw it at you a lot. And like I did it a little more in like the second issue for the Kickstarter, and then I was like, I don't want to like just have it just be 90s nostalgia the entire time, because then I don't know, people get bored from that. So
Sure.
Totally. So we've all been doing this for a hot minute. So whoever go first, what do you find is the hardest in indie publishing?
Marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, doing Kickstarters is great. I couldn't do what I love doing without it. The platform is amazing. The backers cannot thank them enough. It's trying to reach out to the people that you don't normally get to. That's, I find, the hardest. That's why I kind of hope, do these podcasts, shows. I send my issues ones to other campaigns for like as freebies, just to kind of hope people take note and Google the next issue. It's a struggle for me trying to find those new backers, new fans.
Yeah, I would agree with Aaron. And I'll take it a step further. I think that if you're trying to sell a product, right now, there's a lot of headwinds for a lot of reasons. I saw now that that multiple countries are refusing to ship stuff to the United States starting like in a week because of the shipping rules are so unclear. that the policies to ship things in don't have the procedures to make them work, right? So we are in a shifting economy, and I think that 3 years ago it was different, and it's not only the marketing's hard, it's like there's shifting sands underneath our feet. So like, let's say guys like Aaron and I figure out something that works, maybe in a year it no longer works, right? So I think the marketing is hard enough, but now you got to market with a constant set of changing conditions that are not favorable to us. I've noticed it with conventions. Starting in about middle of 2023, I'd always been a big proponent of doing conventions to promote what I'm doing, and I've noticed that conventions have become more dead time, less spending, et cetera, bigger macroeconomic issues that I think are really forcing that. So I'm re-examining what conventions I'm doing and why I'm doing them, because they're not what they used to be. And for many years they were pretty productive, and now they're not. And that kind of goes back to Aaron's point of marketing. So how do you find new readers and find new backers? And it's tough. And I would say that the Kickstarter for my last comic was probably one of the toughest ones I ever went through, because it succeeded. But I felt the effort that I put into it did not really get the result that it would have gotten in years past. Just because I knew a lot of backers that I spoke to that had backed prior books were like, "Hey, wow, times are tight. I can't back your project, and I love you doing it before." So definitely, marketing / navigating the shifting sands of crowdfunding in the economy. I'd say that's the biggest problem or challenge.
Yeah, and shipping costs.
Yeah, that's another one.
I only had to ship 2 international things for Night Watch, but
Yeah, good plug. I like that.
but yeah, so one went to Ireland, and one went to Canada.
I used pirate ship for the first time. I was one of the idiots just going to the post office for years and mailing stuff, and I buckled down and got a little printer, and I started using pirate ship for this last batch of rewards, and I saved like $5.
Amazing.
I felt stupid for not using pirate ship before then. People tell me ideas, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll do that, and then like 3 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, that was really good.
And all you have to do is type into the chat bot like international shipping or like simple export rate, and then it'll be like, here's the simple export rate, we unlocked it for you, and then it's like, then what you probably charge for.
And that all kind of ties into the shifting economic sands. Like I said, I've seen a bunch of creators literally in the last couple of days freaking out about de minimis changes and international post office changes. If you're shipping into the U.S., like apparently now that's going to be a big issue for some amount of time, maybe permanently. Don't know. And I think it makes it very difficult for all of us to try to have these small self-publishing businesses to try to navigate this stuff that's bigger than us, but we still got to deal with it.
Yeah, it happened to me on my, not last, but the campaign before that, where I was trying to ship to Canada, and they had strikes. So from what normally costs $15 to ship was now $45. So I kind of like messaged the backer like, do you mind waiting a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, it's fine. So it's like I think it lasted like a couple of weeks, but it was like, I'm not paying $45.
It
does.
Think about this. Let's say a year ago, like this time, or let's say like December, a guy like Aaron or a guy like me orders like enamel pins, right, for a campaign, which most of that stuff's coming from China, right? That's where enamel pins come from. Spoiler, right? So let's say Aaron buys 500, pins for his project, right? And then it takes a while to ship them. And then while they're in transit, there turns into some huge tariff issue, which I saw people going nuts about this. So he expects to pay $1,000 for whatever, 500 pins. And now they're like, yeah, it's $3,700. And either you pay up or we'll just trash them. right? And so, I mean, he's already out the money that he spent. And if he spends more money to save it, he's going to lose money because he didn't, anticipate the cost being so high, or he eats the money he spent. He's done nothing wrong, right?
Yes.
But he's like the grain of sand that gets ground up in the gears. And if you're a bigger company, maybe you can absorb some blows like that, or you lawyer your way out of it. But for people like everybody on this podcast, right? That's a huge blow that you can't overcome. And it isn't like, well, you didn't pay attention. It's like, nah, we changed the rules. So I think I'm very sensitive to all that for small creators, because you can just get wiped out with what little money you're making on some of these things, and it's very unfortunate.
The
Life of an indie creator.
You got me going. I was bored talking about Star Wars or listening, but we'll talk about the minimus shipping. Like now I'm engaged. Let's talk, right?
How do you wow, what was it? How do you balance fan expectations with your creative vision? So whoever wants to go first with that.
I'll let Aaron go first.
I've been going first every time.
Well,
To do with it. I don't know. I just write what I want to write and create what I try and create. I don't really. I mean, I hope people, especially when I'm launching something new. Like I've got my 4th series launching in January. I'm shitting myself because it's brand new. It's a very hard science fiction horror. So kind of Aliens, Event Horizon kind of vibe. It could do really well, or it could tank. It's one of those things that I enjoy it. I've written most of the actual series, so most of it is actually written. I think I've got the last 2-3 issues to write, but the treatment's done, the outline's done. I mean, I go full blaze. I try not to leave anything out. If I'm going to write something, if I'm passionate about it, I'll write it. I'll make the comic, and hopefully the fans and people enjoy it and back it, so I can create more.
Cool. Yeah, say something.
Then Jason says that is complete bullshit. It's wrong.
Validate Aaron's answer, which is very valid and very correct. So the biggest thing I think I've sort of struggled with fan expectations, and I had one longtime backer that kind of gave me some grief about my new book. He's like, it's taking you too long between books, and it needs to be faster. And I'm like, brother, you know what I mean? Like, I put them out as fast as I can. I have a full-time job. I have family. I can't, I'm not DC. So the best I can do is to try to make sure that when I give you a date for fulfillment, that I meet it. And if I'm working too slow, I'm very sorry. But I can't fix that. And it actually kind of caught me off guard, because it wasn't you're not fulfilling, you're just not working quick enough to make more. And I still think about that, because I found it so perplexing and kind of felt like kind of a little bit of a lack of understanding. I don't know. It seems strange to me. And he's a super backer and he always supports, but it just kind of caught me off guard. Because I fought really hard over from March till the end of June. I had every single reward for Kickstarter except one shipped out. It was a sketch cover, and I got it done about a week after the deadline. And, one thing that I find interesting is that there's a lot of negativity around people not fulfilling on time, but I don't know that creators get enough credit for doing things on time. Like, we'll get it done in June, and like 99% of these things were out in June, and the last one got out like a week or two late, and that backer knew all about it. So I think I try to manage my expectations with due dates and doing what I say I'm going to do. And if people don't think it's good enough, I don't know what to tell them, because I'm doing my best. So I'll stick to my word, and I'll do what I'm with Aaron. I do what I have passion about. And if I make a promise, I'm going to fight really hard to keep it. If your expectations go beyond that, whether you don't like what I'm doing, or you don't feel that I'm working fast enough and I'm meeting my stated commitments, I can't help you. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I can't. You know.
Yeah, because I'm not in the book where the book is complete before the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter helps fund the book, so I kind of set mine 6 months, if not longer, to give the artist time to create it. Then I have the letters done. Then I get printing. There's a lot of cogs that need to go, and obviously, if one stumbles, it's a knock-on effect. Like sometimes the artist, like the Amor Patris issue 2 didn't fund because though the first time didn't fund, that pushed everything back because the artist was free to do the book. Then I redid the Kickstarter. It funded. Unfortunately, he was busy with his schedule. He's got deadlines to keep. So even though I've put the Kickstarter delivery as 6 months, I don't think I'm going to hit that because I've got like a month left, I think, and he still hasn't finished halfway through the book.
Yeah.
So that is going to be delayed. It's just I can't afford to spend $3,000 of my own money to make a comic on the off chance it's going to fund. I can't do that.
I do mine differently. I pay for everything up front. At this point, I don't put these things on Kickstarter until they're like either done or like damn close to being done, which I think if you can afford to do it and it's within your means, it's the better way to do it.
Oh yeah, I would love to do that.
But here's the thing, I get where Aaron's coming from. But so, I mean, like if you need to do that, do it. But what concerns me about that is the risk now with printing and shipping that you're going to say, okay, we're going to do this, and then it takes you 7 or 8 months, and then you get hammered on like printing and shipping. There was a book that I backed as a crowdfunding project, and it took the gentleman. It was like a choose your own adventure book that was like really thick, and I like those books. And this gentleman built this book, and it took him forever to do it. And then he printed it, and he got pissed off, and he took it out on the backers. And I love this creator. He's awesome, but I won't say his name because I don't want to throw him under the bus. But he actually blasted the backers and blamed every single one of us for costing him money because this book cost more to print than he had budgeted, and he lost money. And then like within 2 hours, he wrote like an apology note, and it's like, this isn't your fault. I understood why he was upset. I understood his frustration. And but I after I saw that, I was like, I don't want to have these books not done because I don't want to get sucked into what this guy did with, shipping and printing, getting out of control, because it takes you 6, 7, 8 months, right? To Aaron's point. And I used to do it that way. Like, oh, if the book's a third of the way done, I'll run it, and then I'll take time to do it. So I'm not doing it that way because of having that experience, and I can afford to do it. And I know that my book's fun, so it hasn't really concerned me. But I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore because I don't want to get caught in.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do a Kickstarter. I know it's going to fund. I like I said, mine don't always succeed for whatever reason. So yeah, I can't.
The only reason is money.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing too. It's like that's why you have to build an audience over time, and you really got to get it. So you can really know, like, okay, if I want this goal met, I have the audience to do it. One of the things Greg and I talked about a long time ago was I remember when we first started. Greg wanted to run an Indiegogo campaign, or I think it might have been Kickstarter the first one.
It was Indiegogo.
Oh yeah, and basically I was like, don't do that yet. Like, we need to grow our social media, grow a following, get an email list, etc. And so he ran it. It did abysmally, and just as you expect.
We got $292. Okay.
So yeah. So anyways, so then we were still growing. We weren't quite at that number. He wanted to run it again, so he did, and it also did just as bad, maybe worse. I can't remember. And yeah, exactly. He didn't even remember. It was so bad we just forgot that one. So we started paying attention, growing our following, growing our email list, and after that, we like almost every Kickstarter we've run has been backed, or we've met our goal. And the only two that didn't, one was specifically done like we set it way too high and had like 6 different goals. So like that was one of the problems. We're like we want this amount of money and we're gonna have 4 different projects. We're like, that's stupid. Like it needs to be one thing that I'm backing, because especially if you're trying to draw a crowd, you can't say I'm going to build a video game and a comic book and something else. That it's like, what do I get? Like, do I only get one of those things? Why would I support the whole thing? So that was one of them. And then the other one, I think we just set the goal much higher than normal because we were trying to fund other parts of it, and it was like it wasn't marketed properly for that to be the case. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, if you have a appropriate goal set and you do the work, because you could set $100,000. If you call 1 million people, sure, you're probably going to get that. Like it's just that if you don't have the capacity to put the work in that's necessary to be done to get the goal that you end up setting, then you're setting yourself up for failure and disappointing yourself so that you don't want to do it in the future. So it's definitely something where doing the marketing constantly as opposed to only when you run Kickstarter, like that's another problem. People are like, hey, I got a new thing coming out. It's like, I forgot you existed until just now. Like, you know what I mean? If you're not my top of mind at the time where I'm like, man, where's that next comic? Like that's something Greg and I, one of the creators in our network would be, hey, why are you releasing this comic? This isn't Ink 2. Like we had that for like 2 years, like where people there's certain people joking with us like, hey, you didn't release this thing. But the only reason they could is because we were constantly talking about our stuff. And we weren't talking about it like buy our stuff, because that's what people do during Kickstarter. We were just like, hey, here's some cool stuff. Look at the stuff we're working on. This is fun. And by having that community, having that network, having that audience before you try to launch something, it's a lot easier than running a Kickstarter and hoping it's going to succeed. We're basically now, as long as Greg and I are available to market when we run our Kickstarter, we're pretty confident they're going to get funded. Despite the middle lulls that everybody gets where you're like, oh no, is it going to make it? And they're like, oh, thank God it made it.
Yeah. I hate those lulls. They suck.
but honestly, like I said, I don't think there's a Kickstarter number you can put on it that you can't succeed at. It just depends on how much effort you're able to put into it. And I don't say like effort you want to put into it, because obviously like it'd be great if all day long, 24/7 without sleeping for the whole 30 months, you could be promoting it. But the problem is you can only post on so many Facebook groups before you get banned, right? You can only reach out to so many people. You can only text and email so many people. So that's the reason why you kind of have to do it between the campaigns. You have to be growing a community of people that are excited for that next thing.
You can only message so many people before they think you're a chat bot.
Yeah, and get your Facebook account blocked. So don't do that. Grow a community, use your email list. Your email list is your friend. Your email list is a way better indicator than your social media following of whether or not you'll be able to succeed on a Kickstarter. And that's super important. Like, just make sure you're growing that. But yeah, that was a good one.
So before we go, where can people find you? We'll start with Jason, not Aaron. No, Jason. Put Jason up first. He's going first.
Who's on first?
So I would say right now the place I would love for you to find me is my pre-launch page on Indiegogo. I have it there. See, I have it there in my title, pre-launch. So if you look up Lords of the Cosmos 5 on Indiegogo, you can follow the project and you can be one of the people that gets one of these special covers that are only on Indiegogo. I only have so many of them, but this is from Koi Pham. This is from Dave Newbold. So they're already printed. They're in my basement. So, just Google it. You can go to my Instagram or X Twitter at Lennox Artist, and I have the links pinned to the top, and you can go check it out and follow Lords of the Cosmos 5 and see what's new on Indiegogo. So that's be the place to go find me. Follow me. You know the drill.
He's talking and we can't hear him.
I was saying, I definitely heard Walter's voice. Like, I've got comics in my basement.
You can find me on Instagram at Wroblewski Aaron. My Kickstarter is live. DABSKIcomic.com. That's spelled wrong.
It's on the other side.
Is it? Well, it's on my screen.
Remember I told you guys flip the screen, right?
Yeah, you have the
It's here.
It's on your right.
My right. Okay, here. There you go. And then you just type in Blood and Fire, Ice and Bone. You'll find the Samurai Kickstarter. It's live right now. I think we're about 56% funded after the first week, which is pretty good. You can get all the comics. It's the complete saga.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thanks for coming
And you
on.
can get t-shirts
and-
like this.
Ooh, that's sick.
That's actually pretty cool. Wait, show it off. Get that open. Superman it.
Superman.
That's actually pretty cool. Nice.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. And yeah, that was episode 21.
Greg.
Ah!